Calling all Defense Force recruits, it's time to suit up for another defense mission, cause on this episode of the Over Manga Cast, we're deploying into Kaiju No. 8, chapters 76 to 95. Get ready for monstrous mayhem and earth-shattering battles, featuring everyone's favorite father figure, whether they want to admit it or not, Kafka. Let's roll out, it's time for the Over Manga Cast.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Over Manga Cast. My name is Sam, and as always, here at the top of the show, we talk about our familiarity with the franchise that we read this week, but it's a Kaiju No. 8 episode, which means Matt's not here. I have read up to what we read last time, and Jake and Jay are current, so does anybody have any supplementals to that, or?
No.
Not for me. I had read this stuff when it had to come out, so this was...
Yeah. This was
I had
like
to reskim it because this was a while ago.
That was like edge of your seat, like grappling, like what's coming next? What's coming next? It felt like so intense. So,
well,
yes.
we'll see throughout our entire current arc, and honestly, it continues into the next arc as well. That's currently ongoing. This is basically a single giant fight scene.
Yes, we'll get ready for our 3 individual full character action fights. Happening over the course of these chapters.
Yes.
We open up where we left off, which was the revelation that the kaiju had pulled a truly gut-wrenching sneaky on us by having fully specialized number-tier kaiju designed to counter each hard-hitting member of the Special Defense Force. And everybody, this looks pretty bad, right? Like,
it basically is like spelling the so-called end of oh no, it's learning and like adapting. And they touch upon this. Some of their considerations are just like maybe like the kaiju are, I don't want to say like alive. We know they're alive, but I mean like they are actively participating in like survival of the fittest type mentality.
Up to this point, the kaiju have not been intelligent. They've acted like animals. Number 8 and number 9 were the first ones that they knew for sure were like thinking creatures, and they had Kafka. They knew why he was the way he is. But now it seems like number 9 isn't the only one like that. Because also number 10 was kind of like that too, though. A little bit more wild and animalistic, even still.
Yeah, this is no longer managing natural disasters. This is fighting a war.
Fighting supervillains, basically.
Yeah, it is a supervillain that is ahead of you. Because, like, ultimately, I know that this is a optimistic shonen fight series, but wow, things are grim.
Yeah, Kaiju No. 8 is really good at making you feel the tension and like the risk and threat. And they're also good at doing that without having the actual solution to those problems feel anticlimactic as well, because
this manga knows how to do a climax.
Yeah, this lesser series have a tendency of either not presenting their threats as threats or having what seemed like legitimate threats get completely kneecapped just so that the good guys can win, and there's like a lot of hand of the author that you can see. Kaiju No. 8 balances out the threat and the payoff very well.
We start off with our series of individual fights versus Kaijus number 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. With, in this corner, she is dealing with more parental trauma than you can possibly imagine. It's Kikaru Shinomiya! And in this corner, her, but again.
Her, but like her hair is a brain.
Her hair is a brain and also goth.
Yes. Because you know they gotta have a goth trope in here because yes. Love it.
Yeah, because number 15, the anti-Kikaru one, shapeshifts into a likeness of Kikaru, except instead of blonde hair, it's black hair and black school uniform.
Literally, I'm you, but stronger.
I knew it. Goth makes you stronger.
They start brawling. Number 15 has the classic shoot a big laser move that destroys swaths of the city and murders a bunch of jobbers. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, I will say, I think this is the first time they really jobbed the other officers this hard.
They reduced 6 guys to paste.
Yeah, that was a new one.
I mean, if you didn't already know about how volatile their circumstances are, yes, you could just be like eviscerated or evaporated like a drop of a hat.
For how much this particular arc really revels in, standard shonen battle action, character building, fighting, it does a lot to still ramp up the horror of the setting in its totality, not just this new threat, but we get a flashback later with Mina where it's like, oh yeah, no, this is an occupation where people die and get maimed daily.
Well, it's daily at this point, I think, is the big thing, because before now, the sorts of threats that we see in the series were like 2, maybe 3 times in a generation.
Yeah, and the fact that like everything seemed to escalate after the commander like was chomped. So it's kind of like this was like a high risk career, obviously, but that was just that. It was a career. Like there were people who were able to do their time with a calculated amount of risk and move on, retire, what have you. And now like their entire like
it's getting apocalyptic very fast.
Yeah.
And we see this with the fight between Kikaru and Nega Kikaru. And I love the the scientists back at headquarters.
They're just like randomly just observing all of these fights simultaneously and give some delicious commentary.
Their Star Trek techno babbling in the background. I do like that they actually justify them actually having a proper role, because as Kikaru's taking hits, they're actually maintaining the suit. Like, it's not that the suits have like an AI to them. Like even the number suits, they're just suits. So like a lot of complex features that in a lot of other series would be controlled by some nebulous AI that exists. No, it's manually done by these scientists. That's what their job is. The reason they're there to have color commentary is because they actually have a purpose.
Yeah, they're there to do all the other stuff for this bite-sized mecha. We have Kikaru barely managing to keep up. She has to
barely managing to keep alive.
Yeah, she has to be locked in entirely throughout this entire situation, because if she slips up for a moment, then number 15's ridiculously lethal attacks will turn her to paste too. As shown by her pouring everything into her shields, blocking with her giant off axe, and still getting thrown through like 3 skyscrapers and nearly dying, which will become a bit of a theme.
I mean, this essentially, the whole staging of this arc is like final stand-ish of like, yes, we are faced with an enemy that is going out of its way to find our greatest weaknesses, both physically and also, as we'll discuss, psychologically. So it's kind of really was an emotional like first few chapters, just because of like the gravity of the situation had escalated to that, to be dire.
Yeah, well, it's like we've said in previous episodes on this manga, everybody is the main character.
Yes.
And so everybody is fighting their symbolically relevant final boss.
Not even necessarily that this is my favorite shonen of all time. Probably still Dragon Ball, but neither here nor there. But in all honesty, this is probably peak shonen. What Kaiju number 8 does so well is, and like all of these fights are this turned up to 11, is they present like a very tropey character or situation, but they don't like explain everything out loud, and then over the course of the next arc or two they'll say, yes, you did notice that is a thing, here's the payoff of that thing you noticed, which it has depth to it, but it's not exactly like particularly complex. It's very stock, it's very tropey, but it's an excellent example of tropes being tools and not being like a de facto negative, because they're very, very well executed. As we see Kikaru get her second wind, as is expected from the shonen protagonist that she is, there's also a consistent theme of her of people like prepping to send her back up and her saying no. That happens multiple times with multiple different people. We see she can actually see through the memory of the number 4 weapon, because it's made of living tissue, so it has kind of like a psychic memory of the previous wearer. Also,
again, what's her mom?
I literally just noticed that her mom had the number 4 weapon. Ha ha ha, we're so subtle. Kikaru can see what her mother would have done if it was her. And there's also a really cool moment of she can also see see Kaiju number 4 judging her for not being good enough, which seems to piss her off more than anything else.
Yes, despite the fact that this is like the parallels between like her dad and number 15 are also drawn several times.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's a different feeling of not being good enough.
Yeah, the feelings of inadequacy, because the Kikaru clone might be a little bit too effective of a clone, as we'll see.
It's almost like it's designed to specifically mess with her, because it makes a giant axe of its own to hit her with. She's continuing to get walloped by it. She's refusing backup. And I did really love the whole thing of seeing her mother's ghost and following it, like time trial ghost in a racing game. She needs to be better than the previous best.
I love the ghost is fully out of the way of the attack where Kikaru gets grazed by it.
Simultaneously, her mother symbolically coming back to tutor her, and also her getting her opportunity to surpass and become her own main character.
Over the course of the fight, she's able to actually surpass her mother's best of 93%. She pops up to 94%, but this is where the more psychological aspect of
yes, because using her giant battle axe like a sword, because why not?
Yes, of course. Do you know proper axe stance, I guess?
Look, I've seen Final Fantasy.
Yes, we've all seen Final Fantasy. We've all played it, yes.
This is just a Final Fantasy 14 character.
Shh. We don't talk about that one.
But she uses the twin swallows and, in an eye blink, cuts off 15's head and severs the torso.
Oh, that was easy, right?
Yeah, there's the core. Now we just gotta hit it, and why is the severed head smiling? Oh, right. And here's where I legitimately forgot about the neuron move.
Yes.
Because you'll remember during our preview of these boss characters in the last arc, during the Calm Before the Storm, Dark Kikaru walked into Shibuya and activated neuron mode. Whatever the hell that did, we assumed it killed a lot of people, but nobody died. Well, now we know what it actually does. It's a mind attack.
It gives you 2d8 psychic damage.
Essentially, yeah.
It gives her every condition in the book, and I mean the psychology book.
Yeah, there's also a bit of a through line with the 3 main characters of why they're motivated to do what they do. It's like why is Kikuro putting as much effort into fighting as she is? She gives the standard answers, the duty-based answers. The deepest layer is she wanted affirmation from her parents, which again is something we had called out about her since
she first appeared on panel. Yeah.
But this is the part where it's said out loud. This is that trick Kaiju number 8 does of, like, yes, you did notice that was on purpose.
Again, slaps roof of Kikaru. This baby can fit so much parental trauma in it. Because we have a vision of young Kikaru in a blank white void, with Dark Kikaru saying, "You just wanted affirmation from your parents to be told that you were doing a good job. See, they're right over there. But They're not. They're dead. They'll never praise you again. And God, the that is the last page of a chapter, and ugh, we've
Yeah.
said it before, and we will say it again. Kaiju number 8 really knows how to do a gut punch cliffhanger of a final page.
I know, and that's another thing. This is why this is like on the edge of your seat every chapter. I haven't had this feeling so long.
It's at this point that we do a bit of a cutaway, and this is the point where they explain in detail that humans have historically used our intelligence to overcome every potential threat: animals, pathogens, each other. And this is the first time that something with human level intelligence is using the same sort of idea of studying an opponent and then picking them apart based off of their weaknesses. First time it's being done to us.
And it doesn't feel that great now, does it?
It really doesn't.
Really doesn't.
I'm still going to lounge on my seat at the top of the food chain. Thank you very much. But
I know they go with like the metaphor of like a pathogen and a vaccine, but really the kaiju feel just from the battles and the collateral damage and all the destruction, it really feels like the kaiju are more like introducing an invasive species to take out a pest.
Yes, and that was what I was about to be like. Have we had that conversation? Inevitably, is humanity the pathogen or is humanity the cure? We don't know.
We are apparently kiwi birds, and these are the cats that just showed up in New Zealand.
basically, I mean, I don't recall if this is something that number 9 has specifically called out yet. I think it is earlier on, but like the idea that humanity is a plague and I'm the immune system crap that, and I'm sure that just because of the way that this story is framed, that it's going to, finish that metaphor like Miyazaki films do and point out that humanity is supposed to be here on this planet, even if we can be overly destructive at times, because the kaiju are making things way worse than the humans do.
It is introducing a bigger problem.
I'm sure at some point we're going to get a speech from number 9 about immune systems and whatnot, and then that's going to get kicked into the dirt by everyone else's shonen protagonistiness.
And have we even had that conversation about like the kaiju just appear to show up to humanity, or has the kaiju
We know it's been going on since
for generations.
before guns.
Yeah. But
yeah, because we have the ancient shrine of the kaiju hunters from like the Sengoku period or whatever.
So there has always been a widespread consciousness of these kaiju existing. It hasn't been the past several generations that the kind of came out of nowhere kind of vibe. Okay.
It's just, I think it's what Jake mentioned earlier, that the frequency of kaiju attacks has been ramping up exponentially. Because it's like, if you had giant monsters appear in whenever the ancient monster hunters happened, why don't your cities have giant walls? But
so really, why doesn't the rest of this look like Attack on Titan?
Exactly.
Because it wanted to be a good manga. Ha 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 ha. It's funny because I actually haven't read it yet.
But
I had to go for the joke. I have no actual opinion on Attack on Titan except for the movie we watched.
So everyone, if you want us to read Attack on Titan, we have a fresh one.
If it's anything like the movie, I'm sure it'll be great.
It's nothing like the movie, thank the gods. But we get a chapter that is previewing what our other main characters are up to, namely getting their asses beat.
Yeah. Simultaneously, all of our captains are also having this very psychological but also physical experience of, oh no, I could die and everyone could be destroyed if I don't defeat this.
Each of the identified class are all things that should be bringing most of the characters that are fighting right now together to fight simultaneously. And they're spread out. The previous thing that had been happening was they seemed to be targeting like vital human centers, like power generation, communications, things like that. But it wasn't to destroy those things. It was to split up the heavy hitters of the Kaiju Defense Force. And now they're counterpicked, basically.
We've got the one that Narumi is fighting, which is waterbending at him because the way his eyes work, he can't read non-organic movement because no electrons in the body when it is just blobs of water. We have Hoshina, who is just getting outclassed. Like, honestly, he's not even being super counterpicked. This is just a guy in a higher elo than him smurfing.
And the worst thing is he's picked the same character, too.
I know, right? We have the squad that Kafka went with, which is getting just absolutely decimated, the poor bastards.
Shinonome, which is really close to Shinomiya, but isn't. I hate it when that happens. There's another series I've been reading that two characters have nearly the same name, and they're nothing alike.
It doesn't help that she's in first division and also has black hair and frosted tips like Gen.
So she looks like one other character, and her name is very similar to an other character.
Yes.
But no, she's
Gen, but not.
Yeah, she's her own shonen protagonist, but she's at the very start of her arc. So we need someone who's further along in their shonen protagonist arc to come in.
Poor Shinomine. She's sitting there at Despair Event Horizoning, watching one of her squad mates get his neck broken by one of the kaiju.
Like, not even subtly. Like, this guy, his neck is snap.
There's a close-up of his face with a crick sound effect as he was getting choked out, and I'm like, ooh, homie.
Just so there's no ambiguity here. He did.
She only...
The color commentary squad says that it was just that there was a fracture in his vertebrae, not fully broken neck yet. Because she does woman up and uses big Gatling gun, which is her thing. At which point she starts getting beaten into the ground.
Are you AFK? Do something! I guess this is just a League of Legends game at this point.
There's enough suffering for it, so I believe it.
Yeah. No, she's getting flattened, having her character building flashbacks of, God, Captain Narumi is so cool. I just want him to notice me. Notice me, Senpai Narumi.
I mean, I was right there with her, to be fair, because I'm just like, yes.
Yes, this is the character that Jay has been empathizing with.
Very strongly empathizing, yes.
God, they really play it up like she's gonna die because she's having her flashback to, I've trained so hard, I fought so long to be noticed by Captain Narumi, and then he gave me this position as platoon leader. Even just fighting beside him for this brief time, it's been an honor, sir. And God, she looks like she's about to die.
Well, and then there's a sad shot of her face saying that I don't want to die, which is the point where she's going to be fine because
she has made her intent known. So into the universe, she will not die. And Kafka
leaking blood out of every orifice on her face, mouth, nose, eyes.
Perhaps other things that are not on screen. Yes.
I don't want to think about that.
I don't want to think about that either. But yes.
But yes, Daddy comes to town.
Yes! Best dad!
Dad comes to save the day.
Mm-hmm.
Kafka Hibino! The alleged main character!
Yeah, he's in serious mode, so he gets to get the cool poses and the good one-liners.
Yes.
I'm disobeying that order.
He also gets the bitchin' ass transformation sequence.
Of course.
Because after a brief flashback where Kikuru says, look, no matter what happens, you are not going to come help me on this fight. Got it? You're going to stick with your squad and you're going to let me cook, okay?
You have saved me too many times. Let me actually win.
Let me cook.
Feeling.
So this continuation from our last reading when, Kafka had to have that harsh talking, hey, we're your squad, but we're also like working hard, busting our ass too. So
Well, yeah, the big thing is we're your squad, not your ward.
Yes.
We're really trying to balance like personal striving and individualism with working as a team here. We know it's kind of a tough thing to square, but we're really working hard for it, and we would really appreciate it if you helped with that.
Yes. So you don't have to be a million places at once. Focus on what you need to do.
The one
And
enemy
so-
right in front of you. And because Shinonome has only just begun her shonen protagonist arc, she's allowed to get saved, so
obviously. You everyone gets one.
Everyone gets one.
And then from then on you will complain about it and say no, you can't do this.
No, I'm pretty sure it's everyone gets 2. You get the first one where you get to just be grateful, and then you get the second one where you thought you had achieved your goal, but you got outclassed, and then you complain about it, and then after that, you're set to go. That's the pattern, right?
It is the pattern.
Yes.
But man, Kafka gets the hardest transformation sequence here, and it's only one panel. He's just like, hey, look, I know you think this guy is super strong. I appreciate your concern, but this guy is all mine. Boom! And this is where the whole magnitude rating for kaiju really comes into play, because we get the transformation into Kaiju number 8, and then we get the overhead shot of the aftershocks rippling through the city. All the other kaiju turning to look like, what was that? This headquarters is freaking out because, holy crap, another die kaiju just showed up. What the hell? How is another one happening? Wait, it's Kaiju number 8. Who told Kafka to go in?
But yeah, the simple fact is they kind of need him at this point, because every other option basically leaves a giant gap in their defenses, and they know number 9 is doing all of this on purpose. So,
I kind of saw this coming as soon as they gave the order. Okay, you just can't transform anymore, obviously. But was that really sustainable?
Immediately transforms.
Yes.
Because this is a very tropey shonen.
Yes.
But it's also a masterful Xanatos gambit from number 9. Like, I'm kind of doing a read here because this doesn't get paid off in our reading, and hope maybe you guys might know. But like, in this situation, he either gets all of the high-level captains killed, or some of them killed, or they survive, but it draws out number 8 to be hunted down and destroyed.
Or if the captains all gather into one spot, then the infrastructure that was being threatened is destroyed instead.
Or he gets a ton of new data on how to counter them even harder next time. There's no way number 9 loses in this situation. They are that hard on the back foot.
And
at least theoretically.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's the idea. And Kafka does for Kikaru is to, over the radio, tell her that he's not coming, he believes in her, and then he cuts the line. Which technically he's a good dad. He's letting his daughter cook. But the most we get of a fight of like it's several pages, but it's block punch, counter punch.
It's several pages, but it's a beatdown.
It's a one punch beatdown.
It is Kafka just walloping this enemy kaiju. I really love the page turn on this one, because we have big kaiju, I forget which number it is, but he's gearing up for his big move. He's jogging in place. He's got massive thunder thighs. He gets in his sprinter's position. He's got a 9.2 fortitude level attack ready. And you just see Kafka posed up against him, bottom right or bottom left panel, page turn. Kafka is basically in the exact same position on page. That's how smooth of a transition it is, with the monster coming in, taking up like 70% of the screen real estate. Kafka not even flinching. And then another page turn, boom, catches it with one hand. Mwah! Masterful paneling.
And it's from a different angle, but Kafka is in the same pose.
That is good use of your craft right there.
Oh yeah, the art in Kaiju number 8 is always top tier.
Mm-hmm. And, you say it's a One Punch style beatdown. I'm pretty sure that is...
No, it is a beatdown in one punch. That's what I mean. He punches him once and he explodes.
One Punch thinks of One Punch Man, but that's an All Might pose.
It really do be.
Like, that is just All Might slamming Nomu with the...
There's a lot of superhero like aesthetic and trope in Kaiju number 8, which makes a lot of sense because the closest thing in Western media to shonen as a genre is superhero stories. So, especially because a lot of superhero stories have, in part because of Hiroaka, but also Hiroaka was influenced by a lot of superhero stuff. Going to Japan, it's not surprising to see this sort of thing in a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is the kind of thing that will be looked back on fondly as a product of its time. Whenever the superhero trend will fade, as trends always do. It'll make Kaiju number 8 recognizably this era.
Yeah, but Kafka wins this fight very, very easily, and good for him. They don't say it outright, but that's definitely because of the training he was doing outside of his kaiju form, right?
I would assume so.
Yeah.
Because this is not an arc about Kafka, like they have to have him do stuff because, again, presumably main character, he's the title character at the very least. It's not an arc about him, it's an arc about all of the people around him that he's affected. So because of that, it doesn't like linger on him. Like, in all honesty, you'd kind of expect that to be, you would expect either less emphasis on that fight or for it to be a major fight, and it's kind of neither, because it's kind of showing that Kafka is the new benchmark. Like, in part because of the training he did, but also like he has more control over his kaiju form, and everyone knows who and what he is, so he gets to be the standard.
Yeah.
But with that, we cut back to Kikaru to finish out her fight.
Hey, this is also when I swapped my reading music from anime OPs to Devil May Cry 5 soundtracks. But to finish out Kikaru's fight, we have my favorite thing that happens with psychological attacks against heroes, where the person who is doing the despair move is like, what? Why is my move not working anymore? Wait, no, it is working. Like, it's actively working right now. I am currently flooding their mind with despair. Why are they still fighting? Oh, God damn it, the indomitable power of the human spirit. Again, son of a...
Oh, great. I just pissed them off.
But also, God, the way I teared up as Kikaru, in the mindscape, is explaining this to number 15, where she's like, yeah, no, I'm sad. My parents are gone. That's tragic, and I hate it. But even if I can't do my best for them anymore, I have other people that I can fight for. And you page turn, and it's just Kafka. Being
a dad. Like, that is the daddest he has been in this entire series.
We've been saying it the entire time. Here's your new dad, Kikaru. Have fun. And there it is. Again, the Kaiju number 8 classic. They're like, yep, the subtext was text the whole time. Good job, readers.
Yay.
Yeah, and not just Kafka, but all of the people that she's met up to this point are all there. And because she had already proven a physical match for number 15, once the psychological battle is won, then the rest is a foregone conclusion. This is the part where we start seeing that Nega Kikoru is maybe a little bit too good of a clone.
Myself, like, really sympathetic, I guess, to, Nega Kikoru, just because it was like, that also sucks.
Yeah, and I really do love Kikaru's. Fortunately, no one is smelling the backstory. It's just being.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the same thing. At least they've got the Neuralink going, so that we don't have the Demon Slayer classic.
Number 9 created Negakikoru, and Papa Shinomiya was presented of as at first.
Completely heartless.
The really sad part is Negakikoru's final thoughts are, you did everything to impress your dad, who was hard on you because he loved you. I did everything to impress my dad, who was hard on me because he never cared about me.
Yeah, number 9 is the pinnacle at this point of conditional love, aka the worst kind.
Kikoru has the very reasonable take of, you're an evil monster who killed a lot of people, and I am not going to pity you, but I am going to take revenge for you.
Yes, eagerly. I will gladly channel your rage into destroying the thing that is a mutual enemy of ours.
Yeah, I appreciated that. Again, it like Demon Slayer, but better.
I mean, it kind of is at this point. I would say early Demon Slayer, they're basically completely different series, but at this point, yeah, this is just Demon Slayer, but better.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that makes me sad.
Me too.
But we have Kaiju number 8, and that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Again, this is one of those very, very common themes, and like a common refrain with Kaiju number 8. It's very tropey and basic to have an empathy play in shonen, because, you know, like one of the aspects of shonen is it's aspirational, but it's also about violence most of the time. If it's not a sport, it's about violence. So, like the ability to...
You should try to not glorify violence too much.
Yeah, the ability to empathize with someone, even if they don't necessarily deserve redemption, at least being able to understand the perspective of someone. You know, if someone is a gleefully evil, irredeemable monster, but is also simultaneously a victim, sparing them the sympathy of understanding doesn't hurt anyone, you know, and it makes you a better person. So
you should always strive to not become the monster yourself.
Again, one of the many cases of, this is a very well-worn shonen trope. This is as by the numbers as it gets, but it is also flawlessly executed. So there you go.
It's also funny that you mention sports anime, because the color commentary science team in the background jump up. When Kikoru wins, they jump up screaming in victory like they just won the World Cup.
Yes, well, though they weren't privy to obviously her inner turmoil, like they're also like, let's be honest, they're also invested in these fights, because like they help refine the equipment. They're there when they are training with the equipment, so there's like mutual investment.
Well, also, if they fail, they get eaten. So that's also a factor.
Yes, they're also like, I would like humanity to have like a fighting chance. Yes.
But yes, with Kikoru having won her fight and now taking a very well-deserved rest.
Yes.
She radios over to Terumi saying, "All right, dumbass, your turn. I won
my fight. I won my fight.
Yeah, imagine that.
You keep talking that big game, you'd better get to work."
It's even funnier that she beat her villain before Narumi did, which means she's got a better time than him. We now settle into Gen's fight, which, you know, this is 3 main character fights in a row.
Yes.
That's all this arc is. It is just 3 fights.
And they are going on simultaneously too, yes.
Yeah. And
we get some backstory for our favorite problem child boy.
Yes.
He is such a problem child.
I love him so much.
You appreciated this flashback, Jay?
I did, and it only strengthened my affections for him.
This is yet again a case of, and I kind of feel like a broken record at this point, but this is another case where it's like, these are all things that we had already inferred about these characters. It's just, you know, spelling it out when it's emotionally and thematically relevant. Gen wanted to impress Director Shinomiya. Shinomiya, being the overly stern dad that he is, was never impressed by anything.
Yes, he is literally a dad archetype. You know, take it or leave it, but that is, yes. I think the Shinomiya fight really did exemplify like where he was on the dad scale.
Is at the completely stone-faced Rogaldorn tier of, I will never once say a word of acknowledgement to you. I will only say when you are no longer disappointing me.
And for some, that is a great motivation, but as we know, for others,
For some, that's a great motivation. For most, it's abuse.
Great motivation for Narumi.
Yeah, Narumi actually kind of thrived under that, but also not actually his dad. So that's kind of the case where it would work. Maybe don't treat your daughter like that, but we've already gone through all of that.
Yeah, seriously. I love this fight because we have the kaiju that he's fighting. I forget which number this one is.
I don't.
I think that one's 11.
11,
maybe,
yeah.
yeah.
He's fighting number 11, and we know that Narumi's his like big powers. He's got his Keki Genkai, his magical Naruto eyes that let him read the electric signatures in an organic body to predict its movements. Except this guy, instead of being from Naruto, is from Avatar, and he's a waterbender.
And because high pressure streams and blobs of water don't have neurons in them, the eyes can't see them.
So,
and the other thing that's kind of important is because director Shinomiya's memories were implanted into this kaiju.
Yes,
he knows all of Gen's moves. It's not simply that Gen can't use the numbers weapon suit that he's wearing to predict his opponent's moves. His opponent also knows all of his tricks.
Yes, canonically, the opponent has literally sparred with him for years and years and years.
Yeah, that's the other major important factor here. And I do love how this affects Gen emotionally. Because as soon as he realizes, oh, this thing's got Director General's memories, huh? So what you're saying is, this is my last chance to impress the old bastard. Similar to how Kikaru at one point wasn't fighting number 15, she was chasing her mother's ghost and surpassing it. This is no longer Gen fighting number 11. This is Gen fighting the memory of Director General Shinomiya.
Yeah, we also get another case of, I'm going to psychologically needle your weaknesses. I don't need an incompetent officer. Die here. Oh, wait, I pissed him off. This is a bad idea. Wait.
This is how you know that it's a Keki Genkai, because in this moment of high stress, his eyes change color and become even stronger and cooler.
Yes.
He evolved his power. His stand, I mean his altar, I mean his numbers weapon.
You know the one.
No, this is the most Naruto one, because it is simultaneously very, very cool and also very, very stupid. Because the way he evolves is he no longer reads the electrical signals in an organic body. He can see electrons.
Of course.
Physics, man.
Yeah, that's the natural progression, Sam.
He can perceive temperature, fluctuations in terrain. He can basically see the quantum field.
Yeah. What are you not understanding?
I can see magnets. I know how they work now.
I understand perfectly. It's just really dumb, but I love it.
How dare you point out the flaws of our shonen tropes?
Also, God, the page of him bragging to 11 about how, oh, this isn't something that number 1 had. This is something that I developed wearing number 1's suit. And it's him like posed up on the head of number 1. God, that page goes so hard.
He has literally stood himself above the suit he's wearing. He's not here fighting because he's wearing the number 1 suit. He's here fighting, like, the number 1 suit is here because he is.
Despite the fact that this mode causes so much power that it will cause his brain to cook itself in a minute, like a chicken in the oven. He manages
It's
to
fine because he doesn't actually have a brain to cook, and therefore
I mean, they're not wrong.
he whips out his noble phantasm and uses the 7-branched sword technique.
I mean, it's literally the 7-branched sword technique. Squadron style gun sword technique number 6.
Okay, this is so stupid, but it bothered me. Why is the number 6 technique the 7-branched sword? Did that bother anybody else, or
No, I hate to say it, that one's just
didn't.
you.
It didn't even register. I'm gonna be honest.
talk about that one with a therapist? Anyway,
Excuse me.
Look, if it makes you feel any better, Sam, the next chapter is chapter 88 of Kaiju number 8. Does that make you feel better?
Does that scratch that itch?
That's not triggering the autism in the same way.
I do like what the next scene is, though.
Oh yeah, me too.
As we're ending the fight, because once more the sort of like toxic harsh father trope that director Shinomiya is. It's a flashback from the bald dude who took the director general's job and is basically the main color commentary guy. I don't remember his name. He's not a shonen protagonist. He's remembering that director Shinomiya was like doing late night training because, oh crap, Gen is actually getting close. We can't have that. We can't let these kids have anything nice.
No, we're training the next generation.
Oh.
Really, it's confusing because he's only like racing against the clock. He's like literally trying to go toe to toe with a young individual who is approaching the prime of their life.
And that is the whole point itself, too. That
like he knows this has to be an impossible feat to keep up indefinitely.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's there's the level of his own personal pride too. Which again, this is all very, once again, very basic shonen stuff of, the idea of passing of the torch. You have the wise old master who's ultimately going to get surpassed by the youngins who aren't quite at their prime yet, or like just shy of their prime. And there's also the aspect of it's like, why are you, it's like you can just like retire and let them surpass you. No, I want to win because I want to win.
Yeah.
He's actually kind of pissed that the bald dude calls him out on that. There's such a thing as being too perceptive.
Okay, so we just got done with 2 of the 3 fights that we're doing. Oh my god, there's too many main characters in this manga. Let's get a drink of water, and we'll be back to see how Captain Hoshina gets his ego broken down and built back up.
He seems to be losing a sword fight, so I'm sure he's fine.
All right, I'm just gonna cue up Bury the Light, and we'll be back after this. And welcome back to the show, folks, where last we left our heroes. We have completed 2 out of the 3 of the character progression boss fights that we have that we have on tonight's menu.
Now we need to give Hoshina some love.
I hope you're all ready to show me your motivation, because we have Sword Boy now. I will do nothing but make Devil May Cry jokes from this point forward.
Send help.
Am I going to regret this?
Probably.
Okay.
We have Vice Captain Hoshina engaging in a sword fight against the next in line of numbered kaiju, who is matching him blade for blade, which is never happened before, and oh boy, is his ego taking a bruising because of it.
I like how the color commentary chick seems to have more of a problem with it than he does. Like, obviously he's going through severe psychological torment, but the one with all the facial expressions is her.
Yeah, that's because he needs to be Mr. Stoic Samurai and not show his emotions, no matter how like tormented he is inside. So she can just scream for him. with her big ol' cartoon glasses, further exaggerating it. I do love the contrast in their character design, because Hoshina's got the, constantly closed eyes aesthetic going on, and she's got the big goggly glasses. It's an interesting yin and yang.
They're perfect for each other. Is probably going to happen eventually, but right now, because number 12 is able to break Hoshina's swords, he needs a new weapon.
It's also at this point that we learn that he is the younger sibling of the much cooler and stronger member of the Hoshina family.
So this was something. So they went kind of back and forth. Like he was the older, but also was he stronger or more had a broader skill set? Because
he started off as the better swordsman of the two, but because he had other interests besides the blade, when he joined the Anti-Kaiju Task Force, he uses a sword, but he uses it as a secondary weapon. He's primarily guns.
Yeah. So it was not, well, maybe, but I mean, it was kind of like, yes, he was super proficient at the sword, but then I don't want to say got distracted, but he also moved on to become proficient in other things as opposed to staying true to just honing the blade.
It's a parallel to Hoshina's story of they were both told the way of the sword is on its way out. It's dying. You can just shoot guns. That's better. And while his brother, who when they were kids was a like noticeably superior swordsman, whilst he went with the times and he still carries a sword, he still uses a sword, but it's not his primary weapon anymore. Our Hoshina stuck with it as basically the only thing he uses, to the point where he's actually bad with guns.
It's to the point where it's kind of like the classic, clash of modern versus like tradition, deeper symbolism of like, this is Japan.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Can modern life coexist with?
It does a good job of doing that very common, very well-worn trope in a way that doesn't like denigrate either side, because basically the idea is in a world / situation like these, there are cases where close range melee combat is the only reasonable option, and in those cases the sword is better. Even if giant kaiju and normal weaker kaiju are more efficiently dealt with guns, there are certain human-sized very powerful kaiju that you kind of need the control and deftness of a sword to be able to combat effectively.
Sorry, what was that? I was listening to Sabaton Shiroyama.
Anyway, he gets another sword.
I love this.
Yes, and I do like this because he gets a delivery of a bunch of swords, actually, a whole bunch of canisters of extra weapons. And he, instead of going with his normal dual wield style, he goes for a single long sword. And now we're playing Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Also,
oh my god, it is literally Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Wait a second. How did I not notice that?
This isn't my sword. Because he's not used to the single sword style. It's not the one he's practiced the most with, but he still pulls it off very admirably.
Yeah, he because of number 10, he specifically because number 10 had the gimmick of like learning the opponent's techniques and mimicking them. He was already baseline proficient with the single sword style. He just didn't like using it because that was his brother's thing. But he honed and perfected it for this exact situation.
Oh, actually, we didn't mention, but number 10 in the number 10 weapons suit as much as says, I'm the prototype for this guy, so good luck with that.
He is objectively superior to me in every way.
And I really liked this as the third of our 3 major fights because it takes the pattern that we had established and messes with it a little bit. Oh, we had parental trauma, Kikaru, we had Narumi with his
protege or like master student.
Mm-hmm. Notice me, Dad, except you're not my dad.
He was in a fraternal role. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe they're war orphans.
And in this, we have Vice Captain Hoshina, who has a kind of a different take on it, because he's also trying to prove himself compared to a superior family member.
So it's like a sibling rivalry where
Yeah.
instead of there being a hierarchy based on, this is your parent, it's a competitive sibling type relationship.
Mm-hmm. And it's the thing where he has zeroed in as hard as he can on the one thing that he knows he can do to be superior. He's very confident in it. Oh no, I'm being beaten in the thing that I'm supposed to be the best at. And it's interesting because, well, for one, we haven't had as much time, or practically no time, with Hoshina's older brother as we've had with Mama and Papa Shinomiya. So this really feels like a monster of his own making.
I see.
Yeah, and that actually bears out in the way that this plays out. Yeah, I mean, good news, it didn't anticipate the single sword technique, and that works for a time. Eventually, it starts mimicking the single sword techniques, which that kind of stings.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's something that Hoshina has worked at literally his entire life.
And this thing is just beating him in within minutes.
So again, what have you dedicated your life to?
Like 4. Like, why have you done all of this if you're going to be beaten by this bioweapon?
This thing that can do in moments what it took your entire life to forge.
Mm-hmm. And here is the second subversion of Hoshina's fight, because as he is getting his ass thoroughly walloped, he gets hit by a very powerful attack. His mental structure is collapsing, as shown by the collapsing pile of rocks. Great metaphors. I don't know how I feel about this one part where, like, the monster slashes at him, he lost his arm, he's, fading into despair. And then number 10 says, "Ha, that was so cool. I used the tail to block it.
Give me my props.
Ain't I cool?" Oh, shit,
I
still have my
loved
arm.
that personally.
Yeah.
It's the fake out that, yeah.
It's the fake out. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of another ultimately, but like I didn't appreciate the fake out. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the thing that's kind of important is that losing the arm is representative of losing his identity.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I think is sort of interesting is that it was only for a couple of seconds, but Hoshina actually passed out.
Yeah.
So like that was diegetically literally his mindscape. He was dreaming that, which sort of like goes into equating losing an arm to death. And it's like, yes, to like some extent, it's like if you lose your arm in a fight like this, the thing is going to kill you, but like losing an arm is not necessarily a fatal wound, but that's like how he treats it.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's contrasted with number 10, where the only limb he has control of is that tail.
Mm-hmm.
And like him sacrificing it for the sake of winning the overall fight, like it shows the ways in which the two of them are different.
You are right. I think my distaste is just because I've already experienced peak losing a limb media, but we haven't gotten there in Kill 6 Billion Demons yet, so...
Fair. We have been requested, apparently, so we'll see when we can get that in.
Good.
Yes, because our listeners hate me.
They have requested Kill 6 Billion Demons and not Dragon Ball Super, so thank you, fans. Thank you for caring about me.
Fans, show more hatred to Jake. I want to read more Dragon Ball Super just to spite him.
No, you don't. Okay, just to spite me. I believe that part.
Anyway, we do get to my favorite part of the Hoshina fight, which is he's already given up. He's like, there's no way I'm winning this. Why am I even trying? Oh, hey, I didn't lose my arm. That's pretty cool, I guess. But now I should probably just focus on retreating so I can get out of here alive. And number 10 is just like, whoa, what a scrap. All right, come on.
That was a great. It's okay. Now we're doing the attack, right? Why are you standing there? Let's go. Let's do this.
Come on. What's next? What's next? What do you mean? What's next? I mean, let's get in there. This is fun. Come on, man.
And there he goes. That term kind of like triggers something. He's just like, wait, we really enjoy this, don't we?
And this is the shit that I loved the most because, you know, you had the thing of Kikaru had gotten, you know, the 3 questions from the kaiju invading her mind that broke down her barriers, and that was the attack that ruined her. For Hoshina, it's the other way around, and it empowers him because it's like, why do you want to be so good at the sword? To overcome my brother? Wrong. To hold on to the one thing I've got? Wrong. To be a good vice captain? Wrong, idiot! Quit trying to be cool. Just say it. Admit it. You think swinging a sword is cool.
And I really like that because there's a lot to this wording here. When you boil it down, the reason why these two actually work together, the reason they mesh together is because at the end of the day, they're both pugilists. Mm-hmm. Whatever fronts that Hoshina puts up, he likes fighting. Like he chooses to do this job because it's, you know, it's a love what you do what you love kind of situation. But specifically, the thing that Hoshina admits isn't just that fighting is fun, isn't just that fighting with a sword is fun. He says, because swinging the sword is fun. And this is immediately preceded by a flashback specifically of little boy Hoshina training. And there are also like images of him like training on his own in like interspersed here. The thing that makes him and number 10 work so well together is they both love every conceivable aspect of their type of fighting. For Hoshina, even the parts that most would consider boring or tedious or just a necessary part of the exercise, he finds that fun too. Like even practice doesn't bore him or feel like a chore to him. Every part of it is fun. And then there's number 10, who is pure combat. Like he like all of the kaiju, like he just naturally has all of this power. He doesn't need to train. He doesn't need to hone his craft. And also he's a skin suit now, so there isn't really much training for him to do regardless. But they both completely love every aspect of what they're doing right now. And there's also a level that I really like of the reason why Hoshina gets mad at people telling him to quit the blade isn't simply because it's his entire identity. It's because you're telling me not to do the thing that I enjoy the most. I'm gonna have fun. You can't tell me not to.
You're telling the kid to put down his Game Boy and go to bed.
He ain't doing that.
Let the man play his Nintendo.
The thing I mentioned earlier of, like there are stark contrasts between the two of them, but this point where they realize at their very core, the most boiled down part of them is the same. Hoshina is the first to achieve a certain milestone.
Full release.
Mm-hmm. 100%!
By all science and logic, his entire brain should like be exploded mush.
Yeah, it's exploding.
Every part of him should be melted.
It's exploding from all the dopamine he's getting from hitting the judgment cut. Seriously, this man is so Virgil coded, but yet he's also Dante. I love it.
I'm gonna say something. I'm just saying, like, why I love Kaiju No. 8 is this literally so many husbandos.
Look.
And I haven't had this many husbandos in a shonen in too long.
Look, I'm a sucker for dudes with swords, and I'm a sucker for tails, and he's got both in this suit.
Oh my god!
So...
God damn it!
Oh my Lanta!
I'm sorry, you did not need to know that about me, but now you do.
And then there's me over here.
I think it's been pretty obvious about me the entire podcast.
Well, that's fair. But then there's me over here, who doesn't like Kaiju No. 8 for that reason, because I'm pretty
Hey,
sure.
I like it for other reasons.
I like it for reasons, but I
No,
like eye
Mina.
candy too.
Mina actually, because I was gonna say, like,
Oh, husbando specifically.
I think the only prominent female character is Shinomiya, and she looks way too much like a lolly. Like, she's cute, but not that way.
Too much schoolgirl energy, yeah.
I want to pat her head, like, but no, there's Mina, so there's at least one.
But yes, I love the way that this fight ends, both because it's a Devil May Cry joke with the with the judgment cut, but also it's just a really cool sequence because he hops in with the single sword, cuts it open to reveal the core, gets 2 more swords, and then a third one that number 10 grabs with the tail. We are going Zorro without the teeth.
He needs to get on the next level and get 4 swords.
Yes, next arc, Hoshino will...
He gets another sword per arc.
I like the 10th arc. It just whatever, sure.
Where's he gonna hold the 5th one?
Mouth.
No, that's where the 4th one is. Where is he gonna hold the 5th one?
Ass cheeks.
He'll make it work, and he's gonna look hot doing it.
But as he is going through this attack sequence, exposing the core, he's also... We get the flashback of him in the mindscape explaining the plan to number 10, which is good because if you explain the plan first and then do the action, by narrative law, it has to fail. But if you explain it while the action is happening, it's a heist movie, it's allowed to work. This is basically Ocean's 11 now.
I believe it.
But yes, he unlocks his secret 7th Hoshina family technique. The one that he developed all his own.
Because metaphor. Did I mention this series is tropey?
The 12-layer strike. He tells this guy he will slay all and he needs to show more motivation. Unleashes 12 attacks that fully expose the core, still gets blocked, and then, in the greatest move of all time, where'd the tail go? Oh, it got severed, is flying independently with number 10, and pierces it right through the neck and the core, baby. God, I love that. That was such a good chapter end.
Oh, they do try to, in the next chapter, fake you out for a second as it starts to regenerate, but then it proceeds to just drop.
Yeah.
Gotta always have you on that ledge.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, no, this fight was the one, like, I enjoyed all of the fights, but this is the one that just had me turning pages, burning through chapters the fastest. This was...
It took you this long, though?
No, I mean, for this particular reading.
Okay.
I've definitely reached that moment before where it's like we hit that one fight that is, it's activating all my almonds, and I can't put it down. I can't close the web browser, can't close the Shonen Jump app. I'm just reading. And this was that fight for this particular reading. So spoilers for the end of the show, but this was my favorite fight.
We also get my favorite coda to a fight because we cut over to Vice Captain Hoshina's brother, who is just like, yeah, that sure is my brother over there. I would love to praise him, but he hates me because I was awful.
Yeah, which I laughed at first, and then I was a little sad because the other half of it, because there's an acknowledgement there. Particularly, he's like, yeah, my brother hates me, but on the other side, he acknowledges why, and he's like, yeah, he's justified in that. I would hate you too.
Then you're reaping what you sowed, sir. But there is also the he gets serious again and notes it after the joke has passed. He's he says, imagine if you will, your little brother, who's 5 years younger than you, is constantly catching up to you in the thing that is your family tradition. I kind of was scared. I was also a stupid kid.
He's not just catching up to you. He is catching up to you at such a rate that he will lap you if you don't try to rookie crush him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then that ended up motivating him. Oh well, it means he's awesome now, so I'll we'll take the victory.
But I mean, it's particularly alarmed to me because imagine, like, sure, we all have varying relationships, I'm sure, with like siblings, but the fact is he couldn't even contact him to congratulate him because he's like, nope,
Because
it's
they're
not
that
engaging.
estranged.
Yes.
And
I'm sure it will come up again later.
that is the final subversion, because while Kikaru and Gen cannot ever experience the catharsis, I guess.
They can never experience the direct catharsis of actually looking the person they're chasing in the eye.
Mm-hmm. The Hoshina brothers absolutely can, and by God, I hope they do, because seeing these two twinks deck each other in the face will be great.
So glad you said it.
But yeah, the other sort of interesting inversion between the three fights is Gen and Kikaru do actually get a pretty substantial measure of closure with the person that they were chasing and that they had the contentious relationship with. Yet that person is gone and they can never like look them in the eye again. Whereas it's not really resolved between the Hoshina brothers, but the vice captain's brother is still alive for them to potentially do that.
Mm-hmm.
And he seems to have at least internally acknowledged what needs to be done to mend their relationship. He's just scared to do it.
Yes, it's going to be kind of like playing chicken with, am I going to be the one to say, hey, I understand what you did, and yeah.
Fighting kaiju, easy. Owning up to your mistakes as a child and how it scarred your flesh and blood,
we'll deal with that next week.
We'll deal with that next week.
Yes.
But we've got one main character left to do their main character fight and only 2 chapters to do it in. It's your favorite tiger riding sniper, Mina Ashino. Holy shit, she did the Akira slide on the tiger. What the fuck is this manga?
Oh man, Sam, you don't even know how
the tiger is
you don't
part
even
of
know
this
about the
character,
tiger,
by
man.
the way.
You don't even know about the tiger, man.
I want to know more about the tiger because
you won't catch up.
You'll have to catch up.
What are you guys, One Piece fans? Catch up or all spoil?
Yes.
God, just something about the Akira slide on the tiger. Just, I ascended. Witnessing that was peak. And it's the chapter end to introduce her fight.
Yeah.
Captain Ashino gets her fight, gets the setup of her fight, her flashback, and her victory all in a single chapter because the woman is efficient.
Yeah. Yes.
And 100%, this is another case of confirming a thing that had been established. It goes to her first time taking the exam and passing, and she goes on to training.
She goes to take the exam for the first time at the same time that Kafka is taking it for the 5th time. And they are walking into the exam center together. He's like, hey, look, you might not pass it on the first try, but I've got plenty of experience. Here's some advice for you. And I know that we can do this. We're going to fulfill our dreams together. You and I are going to go into the defense force. We're going to fight kaiju. And page turn. Mina Ashiro, you have passed. Kafka Hibino, you have failed.
The look of death on Kafka's face.
My poor man. I'd say save him, but like this is a flashback, so he kind of already has been.
We see the progression for Mina of how she went from who she was when Kafka knew her to the way that she is now. In training, she kind of wrecked some buildings casually.
No, I really enjoyed this because condensing this all into a single chapter. I don't know if it was like intentional to do it this way, but I'm choosing to be very charitable and read it that way, it makes it as fast-paced as it felt for Mina. Because
Oh yeah, no,
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like this is intent because like because this is doing two things. It is showing how in a flash she went from her best friend's sidekick to being completely alone and held up as the world's only hope before she even really realized what was happening. Simultaneously, after all of the battle and suffering and conflict that had been going on with all of the other ones, she beats her opponent in a chapter. Like, there's a reason why she is held up as like the standard everyone else is striving for.
Mm-hmm.
because they're going into the exam. Blink, she passed, he failed. All right, well, I'll catch up eventually. You just wait for me. Blink, she's crushing everything in training. Kafka's still not there. Blink, she is being examined by the science team, and General Director Shitamiya is just like, holy crap, we've got the one. We've got the punch card. We got the cheat code.
He has his supervillain face on.
Yeah, so it's like constantly as you're saying, like she's the reason the bar has been lifted so much, knowing that she still was waiting for her, I guess one of her closest friends to be able to catch up and even like get in.
Yeah.
And the whole time she has the same scared and confused look on her face.
I didn't anticipate being a prodigy. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Blink, she's facing down a mountain-sized kaiju wrecking a city, being told, all right, kid, land that shot and that thing dies, and all those people who are dying on the front lines right now will be saved. Kafka, where are you? It's been 3 pages, please. And God, the panic in her eyes. And this is the thing I alluded to earlier, where it's like, oh yeah, this is a horrific, like, these are disasters. People are killed and maimed. She's getting all the radio chatter of like, we've lost this position, fall back, we have no contact with this platoon. Oh, my leg!
That's all playing in her ear as she's taking aim.
Uh-huh.
She looks next to her where she's expecting her emotional rock to be, and there's no one there.
Mm-hmm.
The fear doesn't get replaced by anger, but it gets suppressed by anger, as every time she fires, she just thinks to herself, liar.
Also, once again, the rule of showing the character vertically 3 times and either growing up or growing younger, depending on what the psychological trauma wants from us right now, as that's 3 different points in her career, as noted by the ever-increasing hair. And now with her her sniper brace tiger, she is going up against Kaiju number 14, which we should really get Neva for this.
Yes, I could not pinpoint what this reminded me of, and I'm just like, I've seen this entity before.
It has the absolute terror field. Like, they've occasionally mentioned that some kaijus have shields, but it's literally the absolute terror field. Oh, man, at least this is competently written. And that one I won't take back. That one I stand by.
I have not read it. I have only watched, and so I can only take half of this criticism.
Oh.
So, the entire time she's been having her flashback and charging up her Bower, the science team has been calculating its semi-random teleportation matrices. God, I love this. This is so... it really just goes to show how amazing Mina is supposed to be. Because, like, yeah, everybody was fighting designed to defeat them super monsters. She is fighting an Evangelion angel with quantum teleportation. She still manages to predict its blank and avoid its death laser.
By riding the tiger that she has, by the way. Did we mention she has a tiger?
She rides the tiger and blasts the thing in a single shot. again, all in one chapter because the woman is efficient.
Apparently, but very tormented by this efficiency. She did not
Mhm.
choose this life. It chose her.
But she technically did choose it, just not the way it played out. She's like, I expected to be sharing the spotlight with my boy. What the hell is happening? Why am I alone? Just gonna hug my tiger now.
I mean, did she specifically want
Emotional
to be...
support tiger.
Yes, that is an emotional support tiger. If I dared to see one. And I don't think she would ever have any difficulty getting this approved if she was flying TSA.
I mean, I'm not going to tell the lady with the giant sniper cannon that she can't have her literal fucking tiger.
I know. Are you going to tell her?
And that's before I know the secret about the tiger.
Yes.
And catch up, Sam.
Catch up, Sam. Join us.
Anyway, thus brings us to the end of our reading for today. Favorite character and favorite fight. I already spoiled that Hoshina's fight at the airport was my favorite of the brawls, but damn, Mina is so cool. It really is amazing how much this manga can be. The mangaka loves doing the same thing, but also going, you thought I was going to do the same thing exactly? Nah, here's how it's different. And I get tricked every time. Mina's entire character arc in a single chapter, beautiful. I loved it. So she's my favorite character. Hoshina's fight was my favorite. How about you, Jake?
I'll agree with Hoshina being my favorite fight, mostly because I feel like the again, it's the case where I really like the sword choreography of it the most. I feel it was the best paneled. I freaking love the art of Kaiju number 8, but there are occasions where their action panels can have a little bit too much clutter from all the rubble, and that can occasionally make fights a little less readable. That was honestly my only real problem with Gen's fight, because otherwise that was spectacular too. And the thing about Mina and Kikaru is, even though they did a lot of actual fighting, the physical aspect of their fighting was for the most part a foregone conclusion, and it was mostly psychological. Kikaru is definitely a close second because when she was at an active disadvantage, she had some really cool things going on. And plus the ghost of mom, behind me thing is so freaking dope. But Hoshina's fight, like from start to finish, was just all awesome sword play. And that's my favorite fight. Favorite character is probably going to be Kikaru. I freaking loved every aspect of her story. We saw multiple different sides of her. A whole bunch of things came full circle with her. The chasing the ghost of her mom, and like the fact that she was literally chasing a projection that wasn't just a metaphor in her head, a version of her mother that she could never keep up with. That is literally what her mom would have done, because number 4 remembers.
Mm-hmm.
So she knows for an objective fact that she caught up. She doesn't have that baggage anymore. She is reached the level of her mother and passed it by a step.
Does this explain the ghost in the shrine that Kafka saw?
The shrine?
You remember from last time when they went to that shrine and
there
Kafka...
was a weird ghost. It might be something that the kaiju he ate remembered.
Maybe.
The kaiju he ate?
Or that encouraged him. Yeah. Yeah.
Nah, Jay, you have the right idea. Just ignore him.
Anyway, finish your...
I also really loved in the Battle of the Mind aspect where Kikaru, she didn't get over the fact that her parents are dead. She's an orphan now, and that sucks, and it'll never be the same. She was still sobbing uncontrollably in her mindscape about that. The way to chopping the number 15 into pieces, like, it's like it's one of those cases where, because of the nature of the way shonen stories are shaped, there's always the threat of character development being a switch flipped. Like, this is a problem in all fiction. Like, all fiction can fall into this trap, but shonen, because of the nature of the way the story is built, falls for this way more often than a lot of other types of stories. And it's always nice to see the care and the deft storytelling of acknowledging that this isn't an immediate emotional hangup for me anymore, but this is not going away, and I am going to continue to have nightmares about this and talk to the therapist about this, I hope. It is still with me, but is behind me, you know? Like, that sort of careful balance of not, like, completely putting it away, but still character developing it past it for the cool action moment.
And Jay, your favorite character and favorite fight?
What more can I say? I guess what I had the most visceral reaction to was Kikoru's fight, just because that was our initial exposure to this type of not just physical but psychological warfare. Also, the fact that we had just come off of, I think we had greater investment up front with Kikoru's parents, her mom and her dad. So I feel like we were able to kind of grow with the character and then finally kind of dive into this state of mourning and growth together more so. So it felt like there was a beginning, middle, and end to Kikoru's ascent into one of the most powerful characters. My second favorite, I would have to say, is also the Hoshina fight. That was my second tiered fight. I'm a sucker also for swordplay, and I just felt that particularly it was poignant when Soichiro was the one who said that, you know, he would congratulate his brother, but his treatment when they were younger was so bad, so horrendous that he can't even contact him. That kind of really made me gravitate a little bit more into his internal struggle that he had to overcome. But as far as, like, are we also doing favorite character overall?
Yep.
Yes.
You have to pick a husbando now.
I can't. Because Kafka's daddy, but
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I love how
Okay.
nobody's calling me out for being a hypocrite and having to just pick one.
No, shush. Shut up. All right. I'm gonna go ahead. Narumi. Narumi is still husbando number one.
Excellent. Very good choice. All right. And would you continue reading? Irrelevant for you two. I know you're both already current. And I absolutely would. I don't want to commit to catching up because life is very busy right now, but definitely wanna. So we'll see what happens next episode.
Yeah. And there will be a next episode.
There will be a
the
next
series.
episode, certainly.
I
It's
have
sort
no
of
doubt.
Sort of interesting thing though, because like I'm current, so like obviously continue reading. I'll read the one thing I don't tend to read the chapters right as they come out. I usually let a couple of drop and then catch up. But I don't know that I'm gonna be super anticipating the next episode because I kind of feel like I've said most of what I have to say about Kaiju number 8 as a story. You know, I'm surely there'll be other crazy nonsense that we can talk about, but I did when I was thinking about you know, what I was going to say in this episode, and then as we were doing the episode, I noticed there were a lot of cases where I mentioned the same thing of here's the thing that they set up earlier, and this is the payoff. Kaiju number 8 isn't necessarily unless you're doing a blow by blow, which is kind of how we did the like review section of it. Unless you're doing a blow by blow. Kaiju number 8 isn't exactly the Marianas Trench. It knows what it is and it does it really effectively. So I'm definitely going to read more. And not that I'm not looking forward to doing the next episode of it, but it's kind of surprising to me that I'm more looking forward to reading it on my own than discussing it.
Yeah, usually getting here in the episode is the most fun part for me as well. But you know, it's also just a damn good manga. So
Yeah.
Can't argue.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where it's like if it's just that good on its own, it does feel a little reductive to just point out all the ways it's good and move on. But I won't cry when it comes around again. So,
And thank you everybody once again for tuning into the Over Manga Cast. As always, you can find us on all of your social medias, where we are at Over Manga Cast.
you can also find us on YouTube, where you can like, comment, and subscribe. The episodes go up on a 2-week delay there, so you can head over to overmangacast.com. That has a section where you can comment on individual episodes as well. Give us feedback. Give us recommendations for bad series that we can complain about. Those are always funny episodes.
I have received positive feedback on the Remonster episode, and I hate it.
We're probably not
Pretty
doing that
good
one
eat.
again.
Oh.
Probably not doing that one again.
You can also visit overmangacast.com, where you can leave comments and be up to date on all of the latest episodes.
We also appreciate reviews in any form, whatever gives you the option for it. Hopefully we've earned 5 stars from you. You can send us those recommendations directly at overmangacast.com. We're on any of the social medias that are still going. I don't keep up with that. So
And overmangacast@gmail.com if you prefer email. God, it's so weird doing this part of the outro when Matt's not here.
I'm sure we'll get it in post.
Hey Jake, what are we reading next week?
Oh, what's that? That's the sound of a classic 90s TV show intro.
Don't
Next
bait
time
me.
we're reading Go Go Loser Ranger, chapters 1 through 12.
Don't bait me into editing more things. If you're keeping up with the show, read that, and we'll see you all next Thursday. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Now to have my flashback of the metaphorically resonant battle with a giant monster.